Welcome into another edition of Jake and Joshua, where we sound off on some of the biggest topics in Big Ten football. And I want to get into a nice little fun exercise. You're a thinking man, so this one is perfect for you. Jake Butt, put on your defensive coordinator hat. How do you stop Ohio State's offense?
You don't stop them. You don't go in there with that expectation because you're going to be disappointed. But how you slow them down, if you want to talk about the defensive side of the ball specifically, and you and I have actually talked about this. You don't ask your DBs to go toe-to-toe with those receivers because it's not going to work. You have to, if you want to break down a house, you don't put a hole in the roof. You go straight to the foundation, which is C.J. Stroud. So what that means is you're going to need to generate a pass rush. Get him off his spot, especially early in the game. Get him uncomfortable. Try to mess with his footwork a little bit to disturb his accuracy down the field. That's your best chance. And it's the same recipe that Michigan followed last year with being extremely disruptive. Complementary football also comes into play. You cannot afford to go 3 and out and let their offense get the ball back. You have to run the ball and win the time of possession. That's your best shot.
So it's I got a couple of things there, really interesting. So first off, I'm there with you on the pressure thing. I think that the biggest thing that stands out to me on tape is when C.J. Stroud sees pressure in his face, he does not step into his throws. And so
And that's natural for quarterbacks.
That's what quarterbacks do. But you affect his ability to make some of the passes that we have come to see from C.J. Stroud, some of these crazy passes that other quarterbacks can't make. So I'm totally there with you. The next question is, for your coverage, how do you balance trying to get 8 men in the box so you can stop the run game that we've seen Ohio State develop and it struggled against Iowa, so maybe there's a game plan on tape there, versus keeping an extra safety out so you can cover for the pass? Where's the balance there for you?
I would think the best thing to circle all those boxes is to disguise coverage. You present C.J. Stroud as pre-snap look, and sometimes you stay in that look. Sometimes you roll safeties down into the box to commit extra guys to the run. And then throughout the game, your corners are going to be on an island, understanding you are going to commit to the run at certain points. And those guys are just going to have to hold up. They're going to have to make plays when the opportunity presents itself.
So I see two things. Iowa played quarters, and a lot of people would say that quarters is a 7-man box because you got 2 high safeties on the snap. I came up in a quarter system in college. I would argue that it's actually a 9-man box because you can get both safeties fast flow into the run fit. So that's one way to stop it. Otherwise,
you're vulnerable for play action in that
very
case,
vulnerable
too,
for play
because
action.
Those safeties are aggressive. Yeah.
One of the big weaknesses of quarters is the play action will hit you over the top. So your safeties have to be extremely disciplined, but you can get both of them down there and really create issues in the run game. I'd also look at, in very, very obvious gotta-have-it situations, maybe some zero coverage. And here's the reason why, is C.J. Stroud is not a runner. So you can 100% get the numbers advantage there when you know that they're going to be downhill running the football. I'm talking about, 3rd and 1 in an area of the field where they've shown a heavy percentage to run the football to try to convert. That would be it right there. But otherwise, you're looking at a lot of challenges, a lot of weapons, and Ohio State has multiple dimensions now.
I'm okay going 0, but it's completely situational for me.
Very situational.
What does Ohio State need? What do you need? What will hurt you the most? Because 0 is a high risk, high reward. If you're in a position where you have some buffer, maybe you go for it. If you're in a situation where a touchdown beats you, I don't necessarily know that 0 is the answer.
I'm totally there, but benefit is 0 too. If they feel like they want to drop back and throw it, you can get real disruptive at the line of scrimmage, press corners on the wide receivers, and CJ doesn't have that much time to get the football out at that point.
The Bears-Patriots game, this came up last night, and former Buckeye Justin Fields did a great job. Patriots are running 0 coverage, and then he checks out of it and he gets into a screen game. And Ohio State has an excellent screen game too. And C.J. Stroud, he's a vet now. He's seen a lot, so he's going to have those answers to check out of it. You would need to disguise it really well.
All right, so you mentioned one thing earlier, and we'll finish this topic on this one. You said Michigan did a great job against Ohio State defensively a year ago. I 100% agree with that. Penn State has a very good defense as well in terms of their ability to match up with Ohio State. I think their body type is more suited to go up against an Ohio State than it was against a Michigan. But looking long range, Penn State, Michigan, are either one of these defenses the one that can really slow Ohio State down?
We'll start with Penn State this week, and I'm excited to see their two cornerbacks match up with these receivers. Again, they present problems. Porter is so long; he's got those long arms, and then King's been having a great season too. Porter gets a lot of the recognition, and then the Michigan game has almost become an anomaly. You know, they've had a great run defense throughout the year, and Michigan's going to be an anomaly for a lot of defenses the way they're able to run the ball. So you didn't need to abandon your game plan at that point. But this is going to be another huge benchmark test for Penn State. They have the benefit of being home where they kind of elevate their game, and we'll see how they end up showing up.
No, this will be interesting. I think the matchup secondary-wise for Penn State, they have body types and talent to really challenge the wide receivers for Ohio State. I think they can generate a pass rush, but it'll be a question of if Ohio State decides that they want to get big like we watched them do against Rutgers, for example. And I'm not saying that Penn State's defense and Rutgers' defense are the same thing. I'm saying that Ohio State has shown that they'll get big. Can they handle it? Because Michigan got big and Penn State couldn't handle that. It's a unique battle. I think Michigan's well equipped to handle Ohio State at the end of the year as well. From the secondary, which is playing well, the defensive line has been more productive than what they had a year ago. And I like the middle of the defense too.
And the run game.
Yes.
And their ability to run the ball and extend drives and keep
they
CJ
can try to
on the
manipulate the clock a little bit. That'll be an interesting one, but we'll have to wait for that. Another topic, one that I'll let you have the floor on. Michigan and Michigan State. You know, in the past there had been conversation about big brother, little brother. It's a trophy game. Paul Bunyan. Give me your memories, your thoughts, your expectations for this matchup.
I don't want to go too deep into my memories, all right, because there's some really tough ones that we'd have to revisit here. But crazy things happen in this game. Michigan's a heavy favorite, but no one should feel great about this game. No one should overlook anybody. Both opponents should have each other's respects. Now, you went to Ohio State, I went to Michigan. Yeah. That's the game. It's the premier rivalry in all sports, in my opinion. But I would say respect is the first word that comes to mind.
For sure.
Michigan State, it's hatred. And I'm okay to say that because I know they feel the same way. I feel the same way. I know Michigan's fans and Michigan State fans feel the same way. It's that in-state, big brother, little brother. You know you're going to get into a dogfight in that game. And you have to expect the unexpected. So I think that's part of what makes the rivalry so fun, though, is you have to be at your best if you want to win.
You know, it's interesting because I spend a lot of my time on social media. I know you do as well. And Michigan State fans have been tweeting about this matchup since the one last year. Like, it has not stopped. And I know that Ohio State and Michigan fans get into it about the game year round, but like the vitriol though, and the levels that either side of the fan bases will take it when they talk about that rivalry specifically is very interesting to me. So being an outsider, I can see where you would make the delineation of Ohio State, Michigan, hate, but more respect in there, whereas this one is just like pure hate. And I also think from some of the sound bites from players and the guy who, not to throw anybody under the bus or anything, but a Pickerington guy, so grew up in your neck of the woods, but he plays for Michigan State, Xavier Henderson. Last year, he had a lot to say after the game, and I think it shows the buy-in from the players and how guys are really committed to their play in that game. And he mentioned former players on the Michigan side, like he mentioned his teammates and how they were ready to go. I don't see that type of intensity from a lot of other situations. I think as an outsider, it's really fun to watch.
I think this game, and we could talk about X's and O's, we're paid to talk about X's and O's. This game is not about X's and O's, it's more about moments. There's been moments in the history of this game where, you know, say Michigan has it last year. Michigan had a chance to connect, throw a haymaker and connect on a haymaker a couple times and just take full command of the game. But Michigan State survived that moment. And then they would come back and swing the momentum back in their favor. And it's one of those games where hatred is an emotion. And then the moments then amplify that emotion. And all of a sudden, you see yourself in the game. You start to have belief. And that's when anything can really happen.
We ought to enlist a psychologist to talk about emotions and then how situations can amplify it. And then maybe we can put a coefficient number with the amplification just to see if we can get a scale where we can actually put a solid scientific number on how the emotions spike in a game.
Your vocabulary has been on point today.
You know, I got it from you.
I must say.
Well done.
Always good.